All right, it is time for Doom 64, the 2020 remaster, the Watch Me Die speed category with ZELLLOO. All right, ZELLLOO, take it away. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Cubit. Hi, I'm ZELLLOO, or at least I would be if I didn't have this Cacodemon and Palemental covering my view. They are adorable. But we'll go ahead and set them down right over here. But yeah, like Cubit said, we're going to be playing Doom 64, the 2020 remaster. This is a great, wonderful FPS made back in 1997 originally by, not by id Software like the original PC games was. This is actually by Midway back in the day, but with id Software supervision. But in 2020, after 23 long years of waiting, we finally had an official remaster and re-release of the game, which is exceptionally good and a great way to play this game. With me on commentary, I have Peaches, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Peaches. I used to be pretty active with this game on the console version. This is a much prettier version and much nicer to run. And I'll be here to kind of like give some, I don't know, some context and let you know what's going well and maybe not so well, because this game has a lot going on. So excited to watch it.
Thank you. So I want to give a quick shout out to our good friend Twilight Soul in chat. He ran this game 2.5 years ago, and I did the commentary for that. That was a fun run. So he did the Be Gentle Speed category back then. We're stepping that up with Watch Me Die Speed. So this is the main campaign right here. Watch Me Die is the hardest difficulty in the game. It is equivalent to Ultra Violent in the PC Dooms. And Speed is also just any percent. So we're just going to go through the main campaign with the 25 main levels. I'm not going to be talking much during the early parts of this because this is really fast and intense, so Peaches is going to commentate for me as we go through, but we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, I'll just start yapping, and feel free to hop in if you have anything to say. But the first thing really that I wanted to say is that this starts out super fast, and you can see there's all these shotgun guys who are here. And these guys are actually like pretty dangerous because they can roll damage between 3 and 45 if they get like a full meaty hit on you. So you can see there's quite a few of them, so it's really pretty dangerous here. And you have a couple different options to kind of deal with them. Obviously, you can just shoot them and kill them right away. But then there's also kind of some techniques to kind of manage their aggro on you. Speaking of managing aggro on you, there's these pinkies here. That one just took a big bite out of ZELLLOO. And yeah, basically their big issue is they just get in your way. Hitboxes are pretty large, and really for the sake of speed, we're just trying to get around enemies because the shotgun doesn't really do all too much damage. In here now, this is already level 2, so there's a couple kind of like, I guess you can call them like scripts going on, where you hit a button and things kind of just start happening. And unfortunately, you can't really speed those up, so you just gotta like clear out rooms in the meantime. And ZELLLOO grabbed a blue key there, and that was actually a pretty big sequence break. You're supposed to hit a button and, like I said, kind of watch stuff happen, but we did what's called a key bump. And in this game, when you are collecting an item and when you're moving, things happen in a certain order. And what happens is first your character moves, and then the game checks whether or not you're able to pick up an item in a valid spot. And then it checks if you're actually supposed to be in that place in the first place. So what you can do is if there's an item that's kind of like too high up to reach, you can just run really quickly at it and sort of like, you know, grab it off the top of the fridge like a cookie jar or whatever, right? And so in doing so, that actually skipped a whole bunch of waiting for this key to kind of like bounce around in that room. Now we're going flying through this next area, and there's another key which could actually be bumped in here. It's this yellow key in the back of this room. However, it's actually not advantageous to do a bump there for it, because if you get it naturally, it allows you to get this cubby in the back right here that has 20 rockets in it. And rockets are like of paramount importance to this run because they do really, really good splash damage. There's going to be some rooms where like there's just so many enemies we need to get them out of the way, and other rooms where we actually have to activate triggers by killing a certain amount of enemies. And so having the DPS of a rocket launcher is so substantial that going out of your way to grab a couple of them is going to be worth the time that it takes, even if it's out of the way. Okay, so now we're here on the next level, and we finally get a weapon that does pretty good sustained DPS, and that's the super shotgun here. And you might notice that he just kind of shoots it, and it just kind of like wiggles a little bit. There's no like reloading animation that might be familiar to, you know, players of like any other FPS. It turns out actually that there were so many memory constraints. It comes up in so many interviews that you see about this run that the devs just like did not have space to work with. So they would literally just cut out like frames of animation of something as simple as a shotgun reloading, just in order to fit more onto it. And that's going to kind of come up throughout the design of the game. One thing
I just want to point out real quick that room had ridiculous luck.
Yeah, I'm kind of like watching it, and like while you're doing it, I'm like, oh, there's so much I wish I could be talking about. But in that room, so that was a room where there was a trigger that needed a certain subset of enemies to be killed for the key to spawn. And what was really interesting about it is that there's enemies that are trying to spawn in, but if their spawn position is blocked, they will not appear. And so what happened there was there's a certain number of cacodemons that ZELLOOO had to kill, and he stood in a certain position to prevent some of them from spawning, and then really quickly killed the rest of them without other stuff getting in the way.
Sorry, I gotta cut you off real
warning.
quick. There's gonna be a flashing warning in 2 seconds, so look away for like 15 seconds if needed, because right when I pick up the soul sphere right here, it's gonna be very flashing lights.
Yep. And I can call out when it stops.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that.
It's the alarm system.
Yeah, I guess so. The soul sphere of utmost importance. Okay, flashing light warning is done. And yeah, so with that, there was a soul sphere that ZELLLOOO picked up that gave him 100 HP. And there was a line def on the floor, basically just like a vector on the map that said, as soon as you cross this line, do something. And in this case, that something was to like have extremely bright flashing lights for some reason. But line defs can do a whole bunch of stuff. They can move the level around, they can make enemies spawn, they can make doors open. And actually that's kind of how teleporters work. A teleporter is nothing more than just a square of line defs. And they move you, right, when you step over them. And there's a lot of interesting stuff with the engine with that. One call that I did want to make is that when ZELLLOOO ended that previous level, he hit the exit button, and there's actually a delay between hitting the exit button and kind of like being vulnerable. In other Doom games, it's like you hit the button, it just kind of like instantly kind of like locks you into the between level modal, and in this case you actually have maybe it's like, I think it's about like a half a second where you can get like smacked, and in this case there's a Hell Knight right in that ending room, which made it a pretty dangerous route. Now here, this is Tech Center. This is a really, really, really complex level for how early it is in the game. It's like level 5, and it's this really, really tightly packed level with all these like different paths and different doors, and you have to do backtracking, and this is like a literal maze here. And it's pretty wild how complex this level is so early. And touching back on the thing I mentioned about the space constraints, the fact that these levels themselves, they don't have that much room for the levels, and so they're very kind of like tightly packed. And so a lot of the levels are much more labyrinthine, much more kind of like hallway based, and they're really like packed very tight for the most part. And that also comes back to the whole issue with the design space and the design constraints that they had. Nice.
Got the worst key in the game coming up right here.
Yeah. This squisher is just constantly trying to squish you. Nice one. And what's kind of goofy about like physics in this game is that when you jump over I guess like any kind of like drop, you just sort of like let Jesus take the wheel. Like, you can't control your dude in the air at all. So whatever momentum you have gets carried forward. And even in really small spaces like that key, you can sort of like lose control of yourself and get squished unintentionally, which in Watch Me Die, the stage hazards are actually very powerful, and you can really lose quite a bit of health just from a simple kind of like slip like that. So here we are on another level, and these levels are just flying by. Here's a good example of a trigger that needs enemies to be destroyed. Both these enemies have to die, which will spawn this yellow key. And there is a backup megasphere that's here, but ZELLLOO's looking really healthy. So hopefully
This is probably like the most health I've ever had coming into this part of the level.
Yeah, there's like a really common, like, everyone's going to call it a backup, but it's almost sort of like you almost kind of rely on it being there. There's a megasphere that's like kind of out of the way, but wow, ZELLLOOO probably has like 100 health more than I would ever expect at this point, just because it's so easy to take damage in this level. This is a sequence break just from that diagonal jump there. So what ZELLLOOO is doing is called SR40, SR meaning strafe run, I'm pretty sure is what it's supposed to stand for. And in doing so, it just adds your, your forward vector and your side vector together to let you run about, I think it's 28% faster than normal. All right, big room here.
Oh, first try, nice.
Oh, let's go. Wow, first try American Gladiator. That's nuts. Okay, so that I think is probably the single most dangerous room. In my opinion, in the run, but it's been a while, so I don't know how much ZELLLOOO is pushing it these days.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, so that is an incredibly dangerous level. Wow, this is a sick run and a sick pace so far. That room that he was in is just chock full of enemies. And one of the limitations of the original Doom engine is that actors all have infinite height. And okay, hold that thought for 1 second. That was a trigger skip to skip a whole bunch of Lost Souls spawning, and then a rocket jump to jump this gap. So that was a pretty decent sized sequence break. Nice job doing both those first
Thank
try.
you. Yeah, rockets don't really give you momentum like they do in PC Doom, so that's like the only really useful time that trick is, because you actually do get a backwards boost from both the rocket launcher and the SSG when you fire them.
Yeah, you get just a little bit, and it's just enough to cross that gap that you normally have to go across the level and raise a bridge to get up. Yeah, we're talking about the strafe running, and so if you are going diagonally, you move a little bit faster, and so there's a couple little gaps that they didn't really intend for you to be able to jump. And if you angle yourself just perfectly, you're able to make those jumps on the PC version. On the console version, you can kind of cheese it because there's a way you can sort of close to double your speed by just basically holding down as the system turns on, and it adds up your two up vectors, which is kind of goofy but not relevant. It got patched out of this version, so you gotta explode yourself across the gaps the old-fashioned way. And this level is just about over. Nice. And yeah, that's another example of a Hell Knight that's even though you hit the exit button, you gotta still dodge him even though the level's ending.
Yeah, the worst thing is if you die while that happens, you do complete the level, but then you respawn in the next level with 100 health and no equipment, which is very bad for the run. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it locks you out of the backpack, it locks you out of all your weapons, it locks you out of your armor. Kind of an interesting thing about that super shotgun is that's not a line def, if I understand right. I think that you literally have to pick up that gun. So
no,
if you have 100 ammo...
There is a line def there, right in front of the SSG. Okay. Yeah, but anyways, we've got our favorite key grab coming up right here. So you see this right here. We're just going to line up because it doesn't matter what angle, so I'm just going to grab it backwards with my butt. So that's booty grab right there.
And I actually really like that one a lot because that key is not actually used in this run. You have to pick it up in order to make the wall drop there so that you can progress the level, but you don't actually use that key. So considering he picked it up with his butt cheeks, it's just kind of funny that it's just kind of clenched there for the rest of the run.
I always love that joke.
Yeah, this is another really dangerous part of the run here because there's so many of these guys right here, and they can kind of infight, but it's hard to kind of manage it. So it's very easy to kind of I don't know, lose control of these guys and get smacked by some projectiles, which in itself is moderately dangerous, but it's more dangerous because if you fall into this lava.
Go? That rocket went for the imps at the beginning of the level.
Oh, it went up through the window? That's so funny.
Yeah, it went through the window.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. But you have to kill all of the Hell Knights, and I think most of the imps, in order to raise the stairs out of the lava. And so if you fall down, you're just dead.
Yeah, so you only have to kill the Barons and any Hell Knights that spawn, but the imps are such a pain in the butt that you might want to take a few of them anyways. Anyways, we're on to even simpler, so why don't you talk about arenas real quick?
Yeah, so this is an arena level. Savvy players familiar with Doom 2 might recognize this as an homage to Dead Simple. Very similarly structured, where it's kind of concentric rings of enemies, and as you kill waves of them, more of them spawn and more the arena opens up. And in this case, there's certain subsets of enemies that have to be killed, and then some that you can leave alive. And that means that ZELLLOOO is really going to be doing a lot of work here to try to like leave as many alive as possible that he doesn't have to kill. Both because A, by not killing them, you don't waste the time killing them, but B, they're kind of wandering around and it makes them more likely to stand in the place of enemies that are going to spawn in. So that's that spawn prevention that we were talking about. So here ZELLLOOO is standing in the spot of a Baron, and hopefully one or two got spawn prevented. I didn't actually see.
I think
and now we gotta
one.
go on. Yeah, like the Cackle Demons will float around and it'll prevent. But an invulnerability spawns in the center and then allows you to run all around this entire outside perimeter, get as many rockets as possible, and then go and try to immediately like splash damage all of the enemies who sort of like grouped up in the center. And this gets very hectic very fast because ZELLLOOO really wants to stretch out the invulnerability to that outside perimeter, but that makes the inside really dicey. Because there's a bunch of Barons, there's a bunch of Pain Elementals, and a bunch of Lost Souls that start stacking up. But that was really well managed.
That is an incredibly scary level, so I'm happy that went as well as did.
Yeah, very few superfluous enemy kills, it looked like. This level's kind of funny to me because there's a whole bunch of pinkies that spawn in once you kind of do the stuff on the outside doors. And it turns out on Be Gentle mode, there's only one pinky that spawns. And if you spawn prevent them, which is really not that hard to do, you just soft block. The spawn preventing mechanic is kind of silly. It's I don't know, odd because you don't kill the enemies. You just sort of like prevent them from appearing. And what that means is that, like, let's say that there's like 8 enemies and you spawn prevent 6 of them. When you kill the last 2 of them, you sort of fulfill the trigger. So it basically checks for like the 2 out of 2 instead of the 8. However, if none of them spawn, you can't possibly satisfy the trigger, so you're just soft blocked. And there's maybe 1 or 2 other times that'll be relevant, but I always thought that that was like the most relevant one. So that's like a bad version of spawn prevention. A good version of spawn prevention is in here. There's a whole bunch of specters kind of dancing around behind ZELLLOOO right now. He wants to leave those alive because there's a whole bunch of Mancubi that are going to spawn as soon as he goes through here. Nice job on that room, by the way.
Yeah, I take that in a specific way just to make sure the Barons kind of dance around me.
Yeah, so picking that up meant that only one Mancubi spawned on the right. He's very manageable, nice. Wow, okay, that was really clean. And so there were supposed to be 3 of them that spawned, but the Spectres doing their breakdance in front of the door meant that 2 of the Mancubi didn't spawn. Okay, quick little 2-tap there. And that was the BFG. So the BFG, for anyone who's really familiar with Doom, behaves very, very similarly to classic Doom. I think actually identically, where you shoot out one big ball, and then after the ball erupts, a whole bunch of tracers shoot out from your Doom guy in the direction that you fired it in. And what that means, though, is that, like, I think a mistake that a lot of players who aren't familiar with the mechanics make is that they treat it sort of like a rocket launcher, where they'll like shoot it in a big open area and kind of like duck under cover to let it explode. But what that does is it makes all the tracers kind of like beam impotently into whatever wall you're looking at. So what you really want to do, the best way to use that weapon, is to fire it and then like basically stare down whatever you are trying to kill and get all of the tracers to like beam right into it. And so that's going to really come into play later on when we start fighting some of the like tinkier enemies. Otherwise, all you want to make sure is that like as much as possible is like in view after the bomb explodes.
Yeah, just think of like running up to an enemy and giving them a big fiery hug. That's why it's really called the big friendly gun.
Yeah, that's right. There's a really interesting thing about the engine here in this level. So in Doom, one of the quirks of the engine is that you can't have room over room architecture, meaning that essentially, like from the top down, the topography is like 2D. However, they kind of like fudge it a little bit, and if you look really close, there's a teleporter that ZELLLOOO's going to go through in a couple seconds, and if you look on the right side of your screen, you'll see right now. You might have seen it for one frame. There was like a bridge that basically blinks downwards almost instantly. And so here, there's actually a whole bunch of over-under happening with these bridges. However, he's not actually going over or under anything. All that's happening is that there's line defs where they will instantly move parts of the map up and down to simulate kind of the illusion of going over or under, but in reality, all he's really doing is walking on the same topography, just like visually raised and lowered. And it's a really, really well done illusion. It's really interesting. And
I needed the
devs are
berserk
actually,
right there, just to make sure I don't die going into this last hallway like I
for
almost
sure.
just
Ooh,
did.
yeah, they crunched you. Ooh, 11,
That was
yikes.
close.
Thankfully, there's some pretty good top-ups here at the start of this next level. So that could have been a much worse place to get crunched. But yeah, I think it's really fascinating, that whole issue with like the topography and the over-under quirk, because the devs are actually so confident about it that I found an interview where they said that one of the differences between this version of Doom and like older versions, and especially the PlayStation version, was that they said that the levels are true 3D, and they even called out that like the limitation of the architecture is no longer applying because it's truly 3D now. So they were so confident in that trick. But that's one of the only times that you can really catch it happening in action was that call out in the last level.
Yeah, to be fair, this game came out after Quake, so 3D was all the rage at that point.
Yeah, so they kind of had a vested interest in I don't know, like dropping buzzwords, but I don't mind. I think this game doesn't need 3D. It's okay. This is a cool level because yeah, it's close enough, whatever. In this one, there is an alternate exit. It's not the first level with an alternate exit that went flying by, like before we could even call it out. But there are a couple alternate levels where you can go and get, they're called demon keys, and they upgrade kind of like the, I don't know, the flagship or whatever, like power weapon of this gun, of this game, the Unmaker. And so we'll get the Unmaker right here, but we're not gonna power it up. But yeah, if we wanted to, we could go into these alternate levels and get these really secret keys, but it's not necessary. And I think the keys are actually kind of nuts. Like, honestly, I don't know how they expected like casual players to find them at all. They had to have been one of those like sell the strategy guide kind of angles there. But yeah, so once you clear out that stuff in there, really the Unmaker wasn't like necessary. I don't think. That's not a trigger, is it?
No, I just can pick it up for the cells.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and once you clear that out, you can get the final key and get these fellers. Yeah, and once again, it's a whole like labyrinth and like hallway, like very corridor gameplay that is, I don't know, pretty common to Doom in general, but it's like even more so in Doom 64.
This run has been going really well, and I'm really afraid I'm going to run out of luck in this level because this is like one of the scariest to get through.
Yeah, no, that was a nice bounce back for sure. You had 11 health and no armor at the start of the last level, so well done. But yeah, just overall, like I think this is a really fascinating run because it's just basically filled to the brim with this like low stakes RNG, where you're kind of managing how enemies behave. Like they'll obviously aggro on you and walk towards you and try to attack you, but they're relatively predictable. Oh, huge room here, by the way. Okay.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh shoot! How did this guy get in here?
Spider in the elevator.
That doesn't happen very often. I'm lucky he did not move in a worse position or start firing at me.
Yeah. You might have heard that noise multiple times, that boing 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 when he was opening the door. That's kind of a goofy door there where if you spam the use key, it opens just a little bit faster. I think there's like 3 or 4 doors where that happens.
Something like that,
kind of
yeah.
one. Yeah. But yeah, so this run there's a whole lot of just this like low stakes RNG, and I don't know, I feel like a lot of people associate RNG in a speed run with maybe sort of like more run breaking stuff, like you need an item to drop or you need like Dompe to dig up the hard piece or whatever. And there's also a lot of runs where it's like RNG is, not a run breaker, but just kind of annoying. And I don't know, I feel like this is like the whole run is just low stakes RNG at all times. And it stacks up really quickly. So it's like you take a hit here and there, or an enemy gets in your face or whatever, and the run is really all about you managing it.
Yeah, think about like any difficulty that's not be gentle, you take the full damage of attacks, and enemies in this game hit really hard.
Yeah, they really do. And going back to that whole conversation about memory constraints, is that there are some like very, I don't know, probably pretty iconic
this is
enemies
bad.
that are. If you're going for
this is really bad.
I think you're good.
I have to burn some rockets and make this safer because I have no room to get into the secret.
That's fair. They're probably going to bunch up on the way out, too.
This is so bad. I've never had it this bad before.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You had a little bit of luck budget here to spend. I think that took like 15 seconds. You're fine. Yeah, one of the really big differences in terms of the memory constraint, a big impact was that there were some iconic enemies from Doom that were just totally missing. So that's the Chain Gunners, Revenants, Archviles, Spider Masterminds, and did I miss one? I think
Did you get
that's pretty
Revenant?
much it. Yeah, Archies and Revenants, they're all gone. And so what that means though is that on Watch Me Die, the hardest difficulty here, kind of the only way that they could really like make it harder is just by like absolutely spamming these sort of like mid to high tier enemies, right? So there's just like spiders everywhere, Hell Knights everywhere, Barons everywhere, and that's kind of it, you know. And like, yeah, they'll throw in some Mancubi or whatever, but like there's so many Hell Knights and Barons, and when you think about how like corridor based all the levels are, it really becomes very dangerous very quickly if you were to just kind of like haphazardly run down a hallway and just get like punched in the face. If anything, like this level
killed
here,
that one. Thank you,
Ragatron.
Yeah. The Ragatron got him with the plasma.
Yeah. So infighting really could pay off here. There's an interesting little quirk here where ZELLLOO's going to save and load. And there's a whole bunch of lost souls that spawn as you pick up that key. It's basically as the key is revealed. If you save and load, they don't get the chance to aggro on you. If you don't do that, they'll all just start like flying all over the place and just like bouncing around like billiard balls on a bad break. And by saving and loading, they're going to be way easier to manage when we go through that area later. Oh, there's so much going on. Nice. Okay, so health is in a pretty good spot. That's good, because there's like a backup soul sphere that you can grab in that last arena. But if you grab it, it spawns a whole bunch of hit scanners, so nice.
Yeah, imagine double the amount of lost souls at the end, because another wave would spawn if I didn't have the initial wave stay put and block their positions.
Yeah. Okay, so a pretty like generous bump here. There's like a weird, I don't know, like texture seam or something that lets you kind of rub into that and get that key relatively easily. I think that's probably the easiest bump in the game, I think. That blue door was another one of those ones where you can spam and open it faster. This is a room that's like absolutely insane, but if you are kind of clean with it, it's actually not that dangerous. It just looks ridiculous. Like that's a crazy room to actually fight through casually. So many Arachnotrons and Barons. There's kind of like a little top up here of cells, and oh, nice management of the Barons. And what's kind of funny here in this room is that there's a whole bunch of Revenant rockets that shoot. There is no Revenant, but they do fire the rockets out of the turrets. And I don't know, one of the ways that the game was just a little bit mean is that the room that you spawn in here has a turret that's added to it on Watch Me Die. It's actually not there on the easier difficulties. Nice sub 1 minute, by the way.
That was good.
Actually really nuts. But yeah, so there's some like very minor like map differences between Watch Me Die and the harder difficulties, but primarily it's just spamming the crap out of enemies. This one here is a little bit more of an open level. But unfortunately, that means that there's a whole bunch of hit scanners, and hit scanners in this game are actually some of the more dangerous enemies, even though they're the most basic ones. Just because, yeah, if they have line of sight of you and they decide to hit you, like, they can do a lot of damage. Nice. Yeah, and thankfully, this level has some pretty good top-ups. There's a lot of resources here. ZELLLOO should be pretty healthy coming out of this section. And
I want to carry as much
this,
of these like resources going into the next level, because I'm gonna try and not take the refills in the next level because they take a long time to get.
Yeah. Having this blue armor and trying to carry it through is going to be really important, because the blue armor and the green armor behave differently, where they give you different levels of damage reduction. So the longer that ZELLLOO can hold on to this this armor, the better. Because I think that several of the upcoming ones are either A, way out of the way, or B, the green armor that gives you the worst damage reduction.
Also need to get this hidden bookcase right here. This one's not marked as a secret, but it basically is a secret, and has those 100 cells that I really want.
Yeah, that's a huge one. A bunch of rockets and a bunch of cells. So basically, like the most all-important AoE ammo that really helps with these arena-based levels. Okay, this is a pretty funny room. It's a huge troll room. For players who are on the console version, or honestly, I mean any version. But when you clear this room, the floor starts lowering. And as soon as that floor starts lowering, you're just donezo if you're standing on it. You can't get out, and you just die.
It's so mean.
It's really mean. Because if you do this level casually, like I've seen like blind runs where, sure, getting like ridiculously lost, like that's probably like a good clean like 15-minute level for somebody playing it on their first try, maybe even more. And if you are on that perimeter at the end of it, you're dead. And it's extra mean because on the console version of this game, you cannot save mid-level. So you just have to restart the whole level if you're on console. Or if you're playing on PC and you just happen not to save, you just have to start over. So very rude. Okay, this level here, this is another one of those wave-based ones, but it's kind of tricky because you only have to kill some of them, not all of them, and it's pretty tough to keep track of exactly which ones. And then they really start to accumulate once you start letting kind of the remnants of past
One got
waves
blocked. Nice.
accumulate. Yep. Yeah. So once again, we're gonna try to get as many as possible to kind of like, I don't know, skitter around and block some spawns. And once all the requisite ones are dead, then some cyber demons spawn. And
They are scary.
Yeah, they're very scary because their rockets basically behave like your rockets, which is they're fast, they do AoE, and they do a load of damage. So definitely a prudent quick save there. And you can see here, this is that little smooch ZELLLOO is just gonna shoot. And
He's stuck in the corner.
He's dancing. Oh, that's interesting. Wow, he like didn't even wake up.
He got stuck, so those lifts actually lower for a bit, and if the cyber demon manages to go onto the lip while it lowers, they get stuck when it's fully lowered.
That is so strange. I don't think I've ever seen that. Well, that's goofy. So thanks, cyber demon. But yeah, you can see ZELLLOO is like very strategically using the BFG, where even like the shot itself, like the plasma ball, wasn't even really that important. Of utmost importance is giving him a little smooch.
Oh, of all ways to get the first death, it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
a scratch does so much damage.
Yeah, 51, and honestly, that wasn't even that high of a roll. I think it goes up to like 88.
88, I think. It's a lot.
Yeah, and so here, like, there is that armor. Now it's 99, but sadly it's that green armor, which is a little bit worse. So it means that it accounts for a third instead of 50%. So I forget. There's got to be a mega armor here.
Yeah, in the back half of the level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, there's plenty of pop-ups here. Anyway, this is a really annoying room. A bunch of just like little kind of whatever enemies, just little imps, but a bunch of darts shoot out, so it's kind of an annoying room to manage. This one here is a fun one because there's one pain elemental who spawns in the center, and there's actually supposed to be like a conga line of pain elementals that spawn in, but if you just don't wake the one up in the center, he actually spawn prevents all the other ones from appearing. So you just kind of like stand here and just sort of like look at his feet or whatever those are. I don't know.
I think it's his hair, actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah, his mullet in the back. And then after a couple seconds, once all the conga line is supposed to spawn, then you can kill him, and then you don't have to kill like 4 pain elementals, or however many are actually queued up to spawn in.
Running by those barons is
Nice.
always scary.
Yeah. So none of them meleeed. They all just kind of like danced out of the way, so that was really favorable manipulation there.
Yeah, this is one of the longest levels in the game, if not the longest in the run. We're only halfway there, roughly.
Yeah, this is like a slog of a level, and it's not like that complex in terms of like how it's laid out. There's only just a little bit of backtracking here. Like this is, we were here early in the level, but it's just long, and there's just a lot of enemies that you like kind of have to kill. These Hell Knights don't actually like belong to any trigger. They're just absolutely 100% going to bunch up if you leave them there, so might as well get rid of them while you know where they are. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's a double-edged sword, this level, because there's so many enemies, but they actually give you pretty good resources. It's actually like pretty generous with the resources if you know what to kill. I don't know. I feel like that's otherwise like something pretty common in higher difficulty Doom runs if you're just playing casually, where you just kind of run out of ammo. And in this case, it's more of a matter of like, do I have enough rockets to like blow up the waves I want to run by?
Those lost souls are chomping my butt. They are so aggressive in this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks for it's a good segue. That's one of the version differences between this and classic Doom. Like most of the enemies behave pretty similarly, but the lost souls are a pretty big diversion, where they are much more aggressive, and they move faster, and they kind of munch you faster. They're like check for whether or not they should attack, and where the player is happens twice as fast as classic Doom. So they're basically just annoying little ankle biters, and like the chain gun can make like light work of them, but it's very easy to get overwhelmed by them if you let them. Otherwise, like Pain Elementals, they look visually very different. Personally, I think Pain Elementals look sick, but they look very different, but they behave basically identical. Oh, this is such a cool level. I love the spiral. This is, I think, like the most, in my opinion, like, I don't know, pure arena level here, where there's a big spiral in the center, or on the outside, and then a million enemies that are on it, and then on the center. And it's just chaos, just like pure chaos. And this is one where it looks ridiculous, but if you...
I'm stuck.
Hopefully you get through there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm all right. I got blocked because enemies have infinite height in the Doom engine, so I was blocked by a panel that was all the way up. Anyways, real quick, this has a really cool little trick. We can use the super shotgun to hit this switch all the way from down here, and that is like our only real big trick in this level. So I'm gonna pass it over to Qubit. Now, give us some donations or announcements. What do we got?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, you got it. We have a $50 donation from Twilight Soul 1 that says, "I wish ZELLLOOO was my dad, but at least Peaches is a godfather to all of us." Smiley face.
Oh, thanks, Dwight.
And as a reminder, you're watching No Glitches Allowed 2026. No Glitches Allowed, or No GA, is an annual charity event featuring speeds that rely more on execution of intended mechanics than game-breaking glitches. No GA will be live from Wednesday, May 27th through Sunday, May 31st, raising money for Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. To see the full schedule, just type !schedule in the chat. If you're looking to donate, make sure to type !donate in chat to get the link to our page where you can make a direct donation. We have amazing incentives and bid wars for you to choose from, so make sure to get those donations in to help them get met.
And I believe we did meet the incentive for the fun levels, correct?
We sure did.
So you're gonna get a little bit of extra action after this run's done. So thank y'all for donating for that.
Y'all gonna get even more Doom 64 content thanks to your lovely donations.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. That's cool. More than happy to stick around for that. That's awesome. And yeah, like honestly, this run just moves a mile a minute, and so I've just been like yapping like crazy. So please, anytime that there's any donations, like just be like, if you just shut up.
Yeah, this is one of those games where there's 5 billion things happening. You'll never be able to explain it all, but you try to anyways.
Yeah, and there's just never any downtime. Like this run is just so fatiguing to run. Like you're just always doing stuff. Oh yeah, and speaking of, hey, here's a good call out. Ending this level, you have to jump into this well, and the level ending isn't actually the well, it's like stepping into it. There's like a line def on the outside of it, and so if you are hauling ass and you cut that corner really quick, you will skip the line def to end the level, and you basically just sit at the bottom of the well, like questioning your life choices. So
The worst ending for Doom guy.
Yeah, he's stuck in the well, and no lassie to call for help. This is another pretty complex level, a lot of maze-like design, and this one is going to have a lot of kind of like managing Barons and Hell Knights before they bunch up in this hallway. This room I think, can you make that jump without neutral reset?
You can
like
scoot. Yeah, you need to get the bridge up. You can scoot around the Cacodemon if you're really ballsy, but that's like, I save that for ILs only, never for full game.
Yeah, that saved like 1 second. There's really no reason to do that. But just a couple like little time saves, but the biggest thing is just trying to like manage these barons. So ZELLLOO grabbed an invincibility, that's why the screen is kind of like I don't know, washed out a little bit. And hopefully it carries through to clear out some of these guys who are like blocking the way here. None of these enemies really have to be killed, they're just in the way. So the invincibility is just wearing out, and easy soul sphere to grab. And in the process
Wow, I
of
lost all of it instantly.
even still in the process of getting it, those Hell Knights were like dancing out of the way.
Like we were saying, enemies hit really hard in this game. The moment I like got scratched, that was 50 damage, and that was with armor with half damage protection.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
And now we have the lotto, as we like to call it. I'm gonna hope these barons play nice as I take the BFG through this teleporter here. Oh my god, they are so bunched up.
Okay.
But we got through okay.
Nice. Nice, okay. And yeah, 70-30 seems pretty precarious here, but I think it's actually not that bad. This is a level that does have some pretty good resources, and there's, you know, this room of pinkies and specters that might seem pretty dangerous on a casual playthrough, but you can just kind of squeeze by them here.
You want to talk about Ring Around the Rosie coming up? Because that's like one of my favorite strats that you got to name.
Yeah, sure. There's a room here that's got like a dart trap, and what you're supposed to do in this room is that there's like a hidden panel that raises some like protective barriers that make these darts shoot into it. But if you actually hit it and sort of like, you know, ring around the rosy around the corners, the darts will actually just kind of like blast by you, and you take no damage. And that's pretty important because in Watch Me Die, those darts, I want to say those things like skewer you for like 60 damage or something. It's just
It's
like
a lot.
disgusting. Yeah. But yeah, there was a pretty well-placed Megasphere that got ZELLLOO absolutely topped up on 200, and very, very generous that they just kind of put that there. It's like a pretty easy one to get to. I think it's actually even just faster to go through that room. There's like a little like teleporter side room, and I think it's faster than just like running back the normal way.
What are these shotgunners doing? Jeez.
Yeah, the hit skaters are kind of, you know, making Swiss cheese of ZELLLOO, but thankfully there's a soul sphere that's just kind of hanging out in the hallway. And even though we're under 100 armor, the fact that the last armor that ZELLLOO picked up was blue armor, he still gets the full 50% damage reduction, even though he's got under 100. But if he were to pick up a green armor to refresh him back up to 100, it would actually kind of be like a drop in EHP because he would start to get only the 33% reduction. Okay, this is the, I guess the penultimate non-boss level. So we're getting pretty close to the end here, but this is kind of a doozy of a level. This one is, I don't know, I actually love this level quite a lot. It's a pretty neat level. And you have to clear out kind of the perimeter, and then also like the mid, I don't know, like battlements of this temple. And every time that he crosses over the shadow on the floor, some Revenant rockets are supposed to shoot at you. Was that a lined up skip?
I might have
there, or?
skipped one, yeah.
Yeah.
that was unusual.
Yeah, and in a speedrun, it's not really going to matter too much because you'll just turn the corner. But I've seen many casual players just be like, where are these damn rockets coming from? Because I don't know, it's very, very unclear that walking over the shadow is what causes them to shoot at you. But once all the barons are dead up here, there's a switch that appears, and this is a cheeky little secret that basically tops us off on energy almost 540. So, geez, that's like such a like beefy secret, but still doesn't have full cells. So Bill's definitely been like spamming a bunch of those, so to good use. This is like a little mini arena. Pinky's just sort of like rain from the sky, and he's kind of like hiding them around because at some point there's going to be a wave of barons that spawn, and we want the Pinkies to try to spawn prevent as many as possible. And in this case, you don't actually have to kill the barons. Do you spawn prevent every one? Oh, there's one.
Just one, yeah.
Yeah, but in this case, you actually don't need to even kill them. So if you spawn prevent every single baron, it's fine. All you have to do is wait for the barons to spawn, and that allows that button in that field there to be pressed, which allows you to move on. But okay, so kind of the neat little conceit of this level. Actually, you know what? Hang on, hold that thought. Because this yellow key here is a pretty big line def skip. So ZELLOOO's going to line it up and then hopefully zoop right over to it. Because what's supposed to happen...
Try that again.
What's supposed to happen is that basically yeah. And what the game would normally want to do is like play keep away with you and make the key spawn in 3 different spots, spawning enemies every single time. And it's just a big waste of time to have to like kill those enemies. But if you skip the line def, you actually get the key. So even though the key is like phasing in and out of existence or whatever, like it's a real key. You can pick it up if you can like beat the game to it. But yeah, that's a pretty big one, because not only does it stop those enemies from spawning, but if you pick up the key the correct way, it spawns a whole bunch of Caco demons that I'm pretty sure you have to kill to like drop some barriers
castle
to get back
locks,
into the...
once you do the intended way.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big line def skip there. And so you saw ZELLLOOO hitting a whole bunch of switches. What he was actually doing was putting in combination codes into a combination lock. As you pick up the 3 keys, a lot of them are right next to these like little kind of like placards that are like nailed onto the wall. And they show you the 3 colors of the 3 keys that you have. And what they're really showing you is that they're like combination codes that you're supposed to then put in that room. And if you put them in the wrong order, you get locked out and you have to kill a bunch of enemies that spawn. You might have seen it fly by on the right side of the screen for like a quarter of a second. There was like a little placard showing, I don't know, one of the codes. RBY I think might have been it, because that's one of them. But yeah, in order to actually finish the level, we have to like play the keep away game. Now it doesn't matter though that the Caco demons spawn, because now we have all the codes, and now we can just finish the level. But it's a cool, really cool design. I guess like a really neat little ambitious like entry trick to do that. Where it's like a key isn't really a key, it's just kind of like one part of a code. This level's pretty wild. This is like the actual penultimate boss, pre-boss level. And there's a cyber demon just like chilling out there. On other difficulties, that is not the case. And you're normally supposed to like release them from their like little like baby cage or whatever in the corner. And then kill them. But in this difficulty, there's one just like hanging out, just vibing. I don't know, watching his brothers in jail. But yeah, you have to kill. Is it all 3 or is it only the 2 in the cage?
It's all 3.
Okay, yeah. So you got to kill all of them. And so in this case, that means a whole bunch of energy that we're going to use. But
incredible luck! Wow.
Yeah, that was. I think it was 3 shots on all of them.
Something like that.
And they were behaving very, very well too. A cyber demon can die in as soon or as early as fast as 2 shots, but that takes like pretty favorable luck, especially if you're trying to dodge rockets. Okay, in this level, there's a whole bunch of enemies that start spilling out of these 3 portals that are arranged around the opposite side of this level here, and they start activating as soon as you run into the arena. However, if you wait a little bit, the enemies will start spilling out, which gives you a more favorable like angle to use a BFG and clear out more of them. And because they're pain elementals, it's really important to do that, because if you were to just start shooting ASAP as soon as they start like leaving the portal, they're going to start shooting out lost souls, and they're going to start soaking up those BFG tracers. So even though there's pain elementals coming out, it's to ZELLLOO's benefit to wait. Even though he's kind of like burning invincibility time. Now he's going to sit in the back of the arena and manage all these enemies with rockets, which, by the way, you're like doing awesome at this. It looks like there's not even that many enemies.
The lost souls are the biggest problem because they can intercept my rockets.
Right, yeah, but ZELLLOO is getting very good luck mixed with very good gameplay and really managing these enemies. And so getting to the end of the arena here, ZELLLOO wants to save at least 120 just for 3 shots, because
oh no, it's not dead. Okay, now it is. We
Yeah,
died at the same time. This still
double kill.
counts. So time is when I exit the level and hit the results screen. And time.
That was sick.
GG.
Okay, yeah. I mean, do
Yeah.
you want to explain what happened there?
Yeah, so when you kill the mother demon, the trigger to finish the level does start. It takes a few seconds, but if you die, as long as you don't hit a button to restart the level, you can let that script play out, and you will finish the level while dead.
Yeah, that was great. I was a little worried when the third shot didn't kill her. I mean, I don't know. I figured you can kite the missiles
Manage
just fine.
Yeah, I look
Yeah.
at the time. 47 in a marathon's really good. I'm super happy
That's
with
awesome.
that. That's such a good time. But let's go through the credits real quick. And finally, the mother of all demons is dead, and so am I, apparently. So you get this really funny, not so good ending where you remain in hell. And thanks to the additional 2020 campaign added, the Lost Levels, this ending actually ties into the modern Doom series, starting with 2016. But we don't have to worry about that right now. Y'all met the incentive for the fun levels, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. So we have the features menu. This is an unlockable in the game. It allows you to warp to any level that we played, and as well as several levels that are not available in the main game right here. So you can see Warp to Fun. We'll get started with Cat and Mouse. I'll let Peaches take over here.
Sure. I'm not quite as familiar with all these, but I will say that I'm pretty familiar with Cat and Mouse because I was doing IL runs of this for a bit. This is like the ultimate slot machine level because there's just one cyber demon that you have to kill, and there's like a few other whatever filler enemies, but you don't care about those. All you care about is just the big bad boy in the middle, and he's got a whole bunch of HP, and you are just like pulling the one-armed man here because you get barely enough rockets to to kill him without going through like the hidden stuff or the side areas, and you're just rolling the dice. If you get extremely outrageously good luck, shoot, I don't know the math. I think you can kill him in as few as like 32 rockets or something
I think like theoretically it can be 25, but the best I've ever done is probably like 36.
Okay, yeah, and that's if you just get like outrageous luck, like mathematically improbable luck. But it's a fun one. I think it's my favorite one. This is probably my least favorite one. This is hardcore.
This is the worst level in the game by far.
Yes, this level is bonkers. There are so many enemies, so many mancubi, and you do actually get an ample amount of ammo to some degree, but you kind of really have to like rely a bit on infighting. You have to rely a bit on AoE damage. And of course, to top it all off, there's, spoiler alert, going to be a damn cyber demon at the end of it too. And I found an interview from some of the level designers, and I thought it was pretty interesting. There were three kind of like primary designers, and they each designed one of the main like fun levels. And then, are you doing Hectic as well?
No, I'm not going to do Hectic. I'm going to do Panic.
Oh, okay. I thought it was interesting because Hectic is normally how you unlock the features menu, at least on the console. And it's kind of neat because they said that out of those three main designers, each of them independently designed one of the Hectic rooms. And I don't know, I thought that was neat. I guess it never occurred to me that like, three different designers would have worked on that one level. Okay, so here we go with the big cyber demon. I don't actually know too much about this level. You didn't even get a BFG, do you?
Yeah, you don't get a BFG. The plasma is not nearly as good in this game as it is in PC Doom, but it's really our best option. And there are a whole lot of invisible line depths where if enemies cross those, they teleport around the map, and that's really bad in particular for the cyber because he goes everywhere and can just like pop you in the back when you're not looking. So I'm going to lure him in a very specific way to make sure he doesn't run around everywhere.
That's so funny.
Oh no, he's moving towards one. This is bad. Okay, thankfully he died right there.
Okay. Nice. It was a really rude level.
2 down, 2 to go.
Yeah, last one's Panic. This is kind of a neat one. They give you the partial invisibility.
It's Playground.
And oh, my bad. Yeah, Panic is a new one, right?
Yeah, Panic is after this.
Okay, my bad. Yeah,
Wow.
this Playground. I actually think this one's pretty fun because they give you these partial invisibilities, which makes all of the enemies kind of like quasi-randomize their shots towards you. This makes it very easy to like juke into shots, which makes it actually like pretty lethal and really puts the normal kind of like dodging patterns that you might have for these enemies and like flips them on their head. And then I guess in like typical arena fashion, now you get like a second outer ring that kind of appears here, and oh boy, it's another cyber demon.
The funny
So
thing
they really-
about this one is that you still have the invisibility, which actually makes his rockets go over, and that's bad because they can fire at so random angles that you run into them.
Yeah, and normally the Cyber Demon, you know, if you're, oh yeah, you got you there with that one. If there's like a nice open arena, like he's actually really easy to manipulate, where it's like he will shoot at you 3 rockets, and they're basically right where you're standing. So it's pretty easy to kind of like, you know, weave in and out of them, or like tap left or whatever. Like pretty easy to use cover, etc. But yeah, personal invisibility makes it way harder. We got
Whip a Mankey Bite to end the level, and then after that, we have the 1 extra level. These were the original 3 fun levels we just played. And then we have 1 extra that's added in the 2020 remaster, Panic.
Mankey-Bit's body was like ice skating past you. I actually think Panic's pretty good.
It's a good
Panic's
one.
pretty fun, yeah. I think I put it like slightly below Cat and Mouse overall, but it's a very fun one in general. This one, it's a pretty thick arena with, this is the Revenant rockets shooting after you, right? Yeah. And a lot of enemies that spawn, and pretty easy to like shoot these pillars. And I think I only played this one like twice, so I actually don't have like a ton of commentary for this one. But
Well,
I just know
we have one little piece of revenge on those cybers. We're actually going to stand right here. There's normally 2 that spawn. We're going to block one of them.
Yeah, okay. That's so funny. The mighty Cyber Demon is defeated by you just standing there.
Standing, the most important thing in any Doom game. So hopefully this should be it. Oh, nope, he's still alive. We're going to see if we can slug it out with him. But there are a lot of other line deaths in this level as well, so he could absolutely teleport behind me and smash me if he wanted to. But he's down, and that is the fun levels.
Nice.
GG. And
Thank
while
you.
you were doing that, we had an anonymous donation of $3. There was no comment, but thank you so much for the donation.
Thank you.
Thinking honest.
Do we have enough time to show off one quick thing that'll only take a couple minutes? I know we're a little ahead, so I guess that's up to producers.
Yeah. Let's see.
Like, we can move on if needed, but if we've got a little bit of extra time, we can show off a little funny thing.
Yeah, one moment while we see it from the back end.
But I do want to say, while we're getting all that figured out, thank y'all for watching. I love participating in No Glitches Allowed. This is like the 3rd time I've done this, and being able to raise money for charity is always great, and Go Rescue is a great organization, so really appreciate all of that.
Yeah, and in addition to your monetary donations, Go Rescue is always in need of supplies to keep the pups happy and healthy. They accept dry and canned dog food, bleach, cheap paper towels, laundry detergent, furniture, and even vehicles. You can also go to gorescuedogs.com and go to the How Can I Help tab to find their Amazon wish list. So let's help the pups.
Well, I see the go-ahead here that we have a little bit of extra time, so we're going to go ahead and show this off. So I'm going to load a save file here. This is the lair. This is a secret level we did not visit in the main game. We have a little bit of a quirk with this map. So I'm going to do something. I'm actually going to get out of bounds for a bit, kind of out of bounds. So we're going to just very carefully make our way over these wall areas and just make our way to a seam where there's no collision. Now this is a little tricky. I actually am going to go ahead and clear the Lost Souls out just to make this easy because they can interrupt my positions, and I need to be in a very, very specific spot to make this work. So this is a pretty tough trick. So we're going to tap forward a little bit. We're going to turn. We're going to aim the chain gun over here. This should be okay. That might be a little too far to the left. Let's move that a little bit. There we go. So we're going to drop down behind this castle right here. You can see it's nice, pretty mountain texture and everything. I'm going to stand in a specific spot and just kind of admire the view. But, you know, this view's great, but what if I want something different? So here, have something different. So, due to the way how the scripts in this level work, there's actually an invisible exit trigger that's just out of bounds that you can actually touch if you manage to get through that seam in the walls. You'll notice on this exit screen, there's no destination for my next level. So in the console version of the game, the original 1997 version, this would actually take you to the end credits. But In the 2020 version, we broke hell so hard, it's just, no, get out. Just kicks us back to the main menu. And we actually do have a category for specifically this thing where you play half the game, take the secret exit into the lair, and take that secret exit to finish. So it's a funny little thing. But thank y'all for having me. Peaches, thank you for wonderful commentary the whole way through. It's really hard to commentate this whole game for 50 minutes, so I really appreciate you being here and
Dude,
really being like...
I wasn't playing it, it's hard to commentate.
And you were the one, like, he is like the OG runner of this game and really kickstarted everything, so really appreciate everything
Do you all
you've
want to
done.
give any shout outs before we end?
Yes, absolutely. So we have the Doom 64 Discord. Morpher and Twilight Soul are two of our members there in chat, and they can point you there. If you want to know anything Doom 64, from playing, from running, from doing the many awesome mods this game has, from custom levels and textures and such, please get in touch with one of us. We'll direct you over there. It's a great place to hang out and chill. But yeah, big shout outs to all of y'all. Thanks for having me. Peaches, you got anything you want to say?
Sure. I mean, thanks ZELLLOO for inviting me. You know, I haven't been active in this game for a while, but like, I guess it's like riding a bike. It's just a very rusty bicycle, and it's fun to kick the rust off every once in a while. So appreciate the invite. You know, shout outs to some of the familiar Doom faces like Twilight Soul and Morpher and so on. And shout outs to some people just from my own community who came said hi. So Gutfarts 2, Scooters, Jack in the Box. Like, appreciate everyone coming in and saying hi. And yeah, it's a really cool cause. I love dogs. And I'm probably gonna make a donation myself because there's some really cute pictures on their website. So
Yay,
thanks a lot.
donations!
Like, I think
Yeah.
you have to. I think you have to donate because I'm pretty sure I heard Reggie barking in the background at one point.
That was Ari, but yeah, she was barking. So you know.
Well, I have
Anyways,
one
yeah,
more
thanks.
quick shout out. These two wonderful Doom plushies of the Kakademon and Pain Model, they are by my wonderful wife Harukaze. She has supported me, letting me do this thing for years and years and years. So I just want to give a big shout out to her for supporting me for everything that I do. But with that,
All
I
right.
think that is it. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all next.
Yeah, thank you all so much for that run. That was super fun to watch. And chat, don't go anywhere. We'll stay tuned for while we get ready for the next run. And while we get set up for the next run, I want to share with you all a couple of milestones and bid wars that we have going on. We are $25 away from the Christmas Nights, and this is for the Nights into Dreams run. And if this is met, Akio will boot up this game, which is essentially a demo disc of Nights, but Christmas themed, and has a mode where you could play as Sonic. So there'll be festive and a fast run. And we are only $25 away from that one. This closes at the end of the Nights into Dreams run, which is the run that starts after our next run coming up. So make sure you get those donations in soon. And we also have a bid war incentive. This is for Sunset Overdrive, which is our first run of the day tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. It is a character model bid war. And the choices for the character models are man, muscular man, woman, and muscular woman. So you have until noon tomorrow to get those donations in when the run starts. We also have a $10 donation from Jack in the Box 333 that says, "For the doggos." And that goes towards the woman, the woman model for the Sunset Overdrive run. So thank you so much for that donation, Jack in the Box. And this is just another reminder that we are here raising funds for Go Rescue. The Go Rescue website has its own section for adoption success stories. So while we get set up for the next run, please go check out gorescuedogs.com/success stories for some adorable pictures and heartwarming tales.